thank you very much, Laura, that you join us today. You told me you are in Italy at the moment. We want to talk about patterning generative AI in chemistry, and that has a lot of meanings. Okay, is it a generative AI solution? Is this a solution which was generated with AI? So it's a lot of discussion there, especially in the chemical industry, in the pharmaceutical industry. Lots of prominent examples from Google and others with DeepMind. So lot of things are going on. I'm very happy that you are here and that we have the opportunity to talk about that today. Tell us a little bit, Laura, first of all, so what is your background? So how did you came into this very strange field of IP?
So, hello everybody, and thank you very much, Alex, for having me here. It's an honor. So, I am a European and Italian patent attorney. I have a background in chemistry, a PhD in chemistry. And I'm now working in a private law firm called Murgatroyd, and I'm heading their Munich office. But before that, I also worked in-house in several pharmaceutical companies, and I've always liked to be in field which combine the different technologies. So, for example, I am a chemistry, but I did a PhD in chemistry applied to microelectronics. And then I was in Novartis, but I was working in the CIBA Vision division, so the contact lenses, so a combination of, again, engineering and chemistry, if you want. And so on. So somehow the bridging the fields that combine different technology, they really interest me. And now, in the last years, there's been this booming of AI applied to chemistry and to drug discovery, to pharmacy. So it's something that has interested me since the beginning.
But when did you decided to become a patent attorney? So
This
you
is
don't
long
wake
time ago.
you don't wake up in the morning and say, okay, now I want to become a patent attorney, right? So what was the trigger point then?
No, that's right. That's right. I don't know what this was the trigger point. Honestly, it came from outside, and it was just right after my PhD. I really, enjoyed doing research, but I felt it wasn't something I wanted to do for all my life. And I was so lucky to have met a person from HR who somehow saw some special feature in me that she thought it would be fitting as patent attorney, and actually she said, why don't you start working here in our organization as a patent expert? And that's how it all started. So by chance, honestly, by
Okay,
chance. And then I,
okay,
I
okay. Yeah,
really
by chance.
loved it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so to the audience, this is a live chat on LinkedIn. So you are heavily invited to ask questions, to give us comments. I will integrate that in our discussion here as soon as it fits and we can see it that it is a good contribution to the discussion. And I'm very happy to do so. I would like to start with something new, which was launched last week. It is the Dplex Definite IP Lexicon, and there is, we have these two structures there. We have the IP asset structure, which is orientated on patents, trademarks, copyrights, design rights, trade secrets. And we have the DIN ISO structure, which is orientated on the DIN ISO topics on IP management. And what we find here is a page, Laura, on which you are. It is the AI generated inventions and patents. And this is what we want to talk about today. And you share a lot of knowledge here. We have a time frame of the development of the topic, and there are even more related topics, much more details on understanding AI generated invention, current legal challenges, future of AI. And here you share your expertise there to this page. So first of all, thank you for that, for sharing your knowledge and sharing your expertise here, that the stakeholders of the IP system, like companies and others, can use this lexicon for improvement of their knowledge, also finding experts. But let's start with the topic of this side of this page. So at the moment in the chemical industry, a lot is going on with using AI. Maybe this is the first industry which really adopted the whole power which we have at the moment in the artificial intelligence area. And what would you say? What are the key benefits which companies have in the chemical industry to integrate AI or AI tools in the development process?
Um, yes, I think, well, generative AI is now used really in all sorts of application and industries, but it has really, I have to say, probably the more significant impact we are now seeing in the healthcare and chemistry, and this is due to the fact that AI is able to analyze such a vast amount of data really, and generate predictive models which can tremendously accelerate drug discovery and material developments. Nowadays, drug discovery takes between 10 to 15 years, and it costs billions of dollars really, and of euros. um, so there's the application of this technology of AI to these processes can significantly shorten these times, save cost, and improve our lives really, if new good medicaments are found among the thousands, millions of compounds that could be that are out there, and this really starts from there, that the potential drugs out there are infinite, and the human mind has no ability to analyze them all. So first of all, there is this
When I
application.
was, excuse me, when I was rightly informed that there is a new antibiotica was found due to generative AI. So is that correct?
Yes, I mean there are several drugs that are being discovered in by the through these AI processes. However, none of them is still on the market,
Yeah, of
so
course.
they are still in clinical trials, and because although the drug process development process is shortened, it does remain particular a long process, and there are a lot of regulatory requirements that are very stringent, and they remain very stringent also under the era of the AI. Um, but the interesting thing is that it's not only in the high use is not only for drug development, but drug discovery, but it's also really in the development of the formulation, in the manufacturing process, in the quality control, in the clinical trials. I think there is this very famous case of this medicament for COVID called Paxlovid, where is now an approved medicament for COVID, and Pfizer used AI to manage the clinical trials, in the sense that they could predict where the COVID would manifest, and then they would do their recruitment in these regions, and so they could put together an enormous amount of patients in a very short amount of time, and so reach the approval much faster than in a normal situation. So this is just one example where AI was used outside the typical drug discovery, but
Yeah,
still helped
yeah.
the development of. of a medicament.
Was in the processes. No, I just mentioned this antibiotic because that was the first identification um,
Oh,
of a antibioticum for a very long time. I would say 40 years or 50 years, and a real breakthrough. And as you said, the potential drugs are infinite, but we have to find them, and that is exactly that is this data processing question. So when we have a tool which helps us, so very simple, just to process more data in the same time or in shorter times, that helps enormous to find the potential drugs and or to design them, to create them, and that is maybe one of the cornerstones. And then what you said is that we have also in the whole process of the development, we have lots of opportunities to improve the whole R&D process, or the fulfillment of the regulations, to come faster to the market with the drugs.
right, exactly, exactly. And so in the last years, we have really seen some incredible free, platform software developments around this. This the AI technology, but as well also hardware development, because this is also essential for the application of generative AI, because if you don't have enough adequate processing units, you won't be able to make your program run so fast and so efficiently as it does. So I think it all came now about all together. So and we when we once we talk about AI, we cannot. For this reason, not mention Indivia, who is the company that was always basically pioneer of the graphic processing unit technology, but they have really now with their processors made possible that this application have reached out so far. So and you probably heard that this ChatGPT platform was built on this NVIDIA processors, and they are really at the base of the major applications that we now see in AI. Um, so I think it's good to mention them as well as in the
Yeah,
context
yeah,
of the
absolutely.
historic. um,
I mean, it's a kind of bottleneck, isn't it? So at the
yes,
moment,
it
no
is
other company has the that kind of powerful chips. I mean, when we talk about chips that are
a
complete
lot.
circuit circuit boards or print PPCs, but basically, it is a bottleneck, and some company like Tesla or others, they buy tens of thousands of the processors. So it's simply hard to get some. So even for the big pharmaceutical or chemical industry, I think that is also quite tricky to get processor time to run that sophisticated models which we need to identify, for example, potential drugs or other interesting chemical
Absolutely,
molecules, right?
absolutely. So that's the first part, and then of course there are the platforms. And as to the platform, now we see so many coming up, and there are some developed um, fr- by some pharma tech companies, some that are developed by, for example, Nvidia themselves, or other really only AI tech companies, and they're all different. And I think this is one of the first consideration that any company that wants to get into this uh, into this the AI world has to do: which platform should I use and why, what am I developing. So this is really the first step to go into this field, really.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, is it what my understanding is that we have two different approaches here in this usage of artificial intelligence. So we have this pattern recognition. So this is the one side, and the other side is the generative approach. So design and creation of new things. So what is more important in your experience in the chemical environment?
Well, they have different, as usual. I think each has a part to cover, and it depends what one is looking for. And you often talk about, in your post and in your about having clear the strategy of what you're looking for. And I find this as a very important topic. Every time you have to have in mind what you're looking for as your last what is at the end of of your view, so that you can really focus on because something which can be very important for me can be less important for you, because we are looking for two different things.
Yeah.
um,
No, I mean, I just thought that you are active in that field. You file lots of patents on that. So the question is, what you see more often? More often, the generative AI approach, or the pattern recognition, the analytical AI. That was just that you have a certain
No,
um, uh,
I think we see
overview.
both in the same way, and there's not really a prevalence of any of the other. And different companies have different approaches, and yeah. So I think the companies could be mostly, I would say, categorized in two ways. One that has focusing there are prominent AI driven pharma tech companies, and that they have their own proprietary software and platform, and they with that they also developed their own medicaments and their own they do their own drug discovery. And on the other hand, they put this platform available with to other companies as well, more traditional companies, and they form alliances with them to develop product that they will be owned but then by the other companies. So, and of course, depending on where you stand in this panorama, in this landscape, you will be focusing on patenting, for example, your or protecting in some way your your software and your methods, the training methods, or you will be focusing on the output of such methods, and yeah, but I would say the
Yeah.
company are mostly divided in these two groups. The one that are developing their own systems, and the one that are using the system of others.
Yes, yes, got you, got you. There, Anita has a question, and that is maybe something for a broad audience also interesting. So, are you involved in that kind of, let's say, data discussions? So, which means, uh, will we own the data? Will we own the results? So, who will have access to results, to data? Is that something in your day-to-day practice which is a topic, or is it more from the IT side that they take care about that?
Yeah, I think this is an incredibly good question, because so I normally not very much involved with this part, because this is a part which is defined, which should be it should be defined at the beginning. So because this collaboration are normally between a pharma tech or a tech company, and then a specialized company in pharmaceuticals or materials, then you the beginning, they have to enter to an agreement, and for their collaboration. And it's very important that at that time they look at existing IP rights, the data, the existing data, where they're coming from, that the correct licenses are given to be used, or what happens to the new inventions that are generated, what happens to the new data, that all these ideally should be defined at the beginning, when at the start of a collaboration, and in the best cases they are, when the deals where this bigger company, more advanced company are involved. Normally, this is taken care of through very well drafted license agreement, which define the geography, and but this can actually become, if it's not well done, one of these IP issues that are related to this new world of AI applied to the chemistry. And
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think really making sure that the data are, it's all defined, what you're bringing, which each part is bringing to the table, and what's getting out of the collaboration is incredibly important.
Yes, and I guess this gold rush feeling which is out there, so that everything has to be very fast. So we when so the feeling is that when we don't do it, the others will do it, and then they outpace me. So I have to do it now. So the fear of missing out is huge, and the pressure is huge to use that tools. And so that is also a quite difficult situation when you rush in as a lawyer or attorney and say, "Hey, stop. We have to solve this and that issue before we start with that." And so you come in as a
Absolutely.
problem seeker, and I guess that's not a very comfortable position, right?
Yeah, but yeah, I have to say, but then normally people appreciate what you're bringing in, because you're saying, yeah, once you think about that, it's like, oh yes, actually it's important to define who owns what, and who owns what. It's actually what comes out of our collaboration. Of course, typically once you have a collaboration between a pharma tech and um, more traditional company, let's say Bayer or Sanofi or whatever, then you will have that the pharma tech company will retain all the rights and ownership of the AI tools that have been used, and the pharma company on the other side will have the ownership of any output, but nevertheless will pay probably some royalties to the company that has helped them to develop the drug that is under development or will be developed. And I think we have several practical examples of this situation. One of my favorite companies is Accenture, is a pharma tech company which was founded in Oxford not so many years ago, and they are really one of the first company that have brought some AI discovered drug in clinical trials. So they have at least a few inhibitors are used for solid tumors, for example, or as an anti-inflammatory, which are under development. One as a proprietary compound, so it's only fully owned, and others that are owned with other companies, for example, one with Bristol Myers Squibb. And this is a very typical thing that you see. So company like Accenture, but also another one very famous is Recursion Pharmaceuticals, for example, that they have their own compounds under development for rare diseases, but they also have um, extensive collaboration with Bayer, of course, a very important German company, and for the development of these drugs.
So when you mentioned Germany, so you head of the German office from Murgatroyd, and you have this chemical pharmaceutical background. Is there something special that you say that is an interesting market also for an IP guy with a chemical background to work here in Germany?
Well, yeah, I mean, Germany is and has been always traditionally a very innovative country. So I think Germany in Europe invests extensively in research and in innovations. The number of patent attorneys in Germany is higher, the highest uh, of all Europe, and this is
Okay,
not
you mean
just
when there are the birds, there have to be the corn, right?
and this is definitely not by chance. It's just because, of course, a lot is happening here in Germany. So, and yeah, chemistry, they are obviously very active in chemistry, but also in materials, in all sorts of materials. And AI is. This discovery, material discovery, does not only apply to drugs discovery, but also to material discovery for
Yeah.
batteries and all sorts of semiconductors
There was
applications.
this famous excuse me, there was this famous publication end of last year, I get November or so, I guess, from Gemini, from Google, where they found, I don't know, 10,000 new crystals,
That's
and
right.
or even more, and then they said that at least 1,000 of them seems to be stable, and and then some hundreds of them seems to be commercially interesting, and they said that represents the production of 100 years or 70 years of classical material science research. So just as a comparison, in
Absolutely.
what that means, that we are in an artificial intelligence race in the
Yes.
in the chemical industry, for example, here in material science.
Yes, and this is exactly one of the striking examples where it would take I don't know how much time to be able to analyze so many compounds and to find the one that are stables, and so indeed what we are experiencing now is really something amazing and unique, and make this really the third uh, the fourth revolution, the of industrial revolution.
Yeah,
Most of them, I have to say that most of the companies, I think it's fair to say, that are working on with extensively with AI, they still use a wet lab to somehow integrate the results of the AI. So this is the case, for example, of Recursion Pharmaceutical, but also of Crystal Pi. That's another company I find particularly interesting because it was founded like in 2015 by three MIT students, and now it has a headquarter in China, and they really combined quantum physics with a very specialized laboratory of robotics, and they can combine, the predictions with some real analysis, real tests, and get the best out of it. So
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
I find
So
it's all
far
this very
we have to
exciting.
test it in reality, of course. I mean,
Yes,
we cannot
yes,
simulate the world, and so yeah, that's why we call it a simulation. Otherwise it would be the world. Okay, so
that's right.
whether it's real or not, but it would be the world, and we cannot do that for the moment, and so we have to simulate it. Is there, when we come to IP, there, of course, there's also, so we have this huge AI discussion. We have an AI chemical, healthcare, material science discussion, also big one. And then we have this very big AI IP discussion about copyrights and inventorship and all these issues. So obviously, we have here a situation. So when we assume that somebody was really able to generate a new molecule, to find a new molecule. So this is undoubtedly an invention. Yeah? And obviously, as you said, it's a multi-million, maybe a multi-billion-dollar business, and that means there is a strong need for patent protection for such, let's say, compounds or materials or whatever. So findings which were at least made together with AI, with AI support. So what kind of discussions you follow there? So can you give us an overview of the ongoing challenges here?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of the key topics around or key challenges about IP and patent protection of AI related inventions. Who has invented it? And well, normally is of course the human that has prompted something to a machine who has given an answer. This is in a very simplified manner, but that's actually what it is. And the current legislation in pretty much all the jurisdiction, with the exception of maybe a few or one, um, wants an inventor to be a human. So we have a legal board of appeal decision in Europe that says that an inventorship cannot be an AI machines or so. Inventor have to be humans. But after so this is probably going to evolve in the with time and maybe open up to some more modern conception of inventorship, but this won't happen so quickly. And so I
But
think
you know,
that
we had this discussion. We had this decision in Germany that they said there has to be a human contribution, which is
yes,
something different from an completely human inventor, right? So that
absolutely.
was an interesting decision, I think, isn't it?
Yes, and indeed, we are moving towards accepting that there is this. I'd let's say this help or this external contribution to the but before we will really get to define an inventor as AI, I think we'll still need some years and some really change of mindset, and I don't think we're ready quite yet. Therefore, I think we need to just adapt to the situation that we have, and although there might be AI involved in an invention, we always have to reason why the first prompt has been given by a human, and that's the human that deserves to have to be the inventors. And if you think about that, maybe it's not that wrong of a concept, and because although it's a little bit like if you want in a much more complex way, but it's a little bit like the calculators, right? That could do, yeah, you need to give the input, and then you are guided by the technologies and what's available. But the first input is human, and the way you proceeded, the way you prompted, it's actually what finally I think characterize or leads to an invention. And although in the case of AI, of course, is the I that we receive is much higher. And um, so yeah, this is definitely one of the key discussion that has been going on around AI. Um, but one needs to be pragmatic and accept, if you want to have your patent granted, your you just need to follow the rules in a way, um, and try to, yeah, to walk around them. So
Yeah. So what is now the way to overcome? I mean, is there anything to overcome when we say at the end it's a pocket calculator? I don't agree, but that's not my. This is just my problem because when I when I use a pocket calculator, I have a certain expectation what this thing is doing, and I'm making invention workshops with engineers, with people from the domain, and they said they would never ever come up with such a solution of such a problem, which came from the AI. So I don't think a pocket calculator is a
Of course, of
appropriate
course.
uh, analogon. But anyway, it is a
Of
tool,
course. Yeah, it's a
which
tool. I
kind
don't
of
know how
tool
to
ever.
say. Exactly. It's a tool. And that's as sophisticated as it can be, but
Absolutely,
it's a
but still a
tool.
tool.
It's still a
And it
tool.
is trained with human
With you,
expressions with
exactly. So,
it comes obviously from humans, and the question is what is the contribution of the tool at the end. And
yes,
as you said, typically but also we have also that, by the way. So we have AIs which are talking with AIs, yeah.
that's
So
right.
it's not necessary that the classical picture that somebody's prompting it's no longer true. They can talk with each other if they want, or if we let them.
If we let them, well, I want to cite here some, just a sentence that I read in this Nature article of 2017. The together the human and AI can outperform any human, but they can also outperform any algorithm. So I think we have always to be sure, that the human inputs, it's actually key. And
So far.
I always believe that. And um, I'm sure even in these processes where you need to decide in which direction you're actually, where are you looking, in which direction, and you have to give certain prompts and things which um, include the human minds,
Yeah.
in it.
So your approach is that you ignore any contribution. You go for the humans. But even then, so who is then the inventor?
Yeah,
When we have groups and we have interactions and some of the analysts or some of the researchers were involved in the prompting, others in an analytic phase. So it was never that easy to point
exactly.
to
It
an
was never that
inventor.
easy. Sometimes,
Um,
as you know, inventorship, it's a complicated issue independently from AI, because
yeah,
is the idea, is the putting in practice of this idea, or so, and in these ages is even more complicated. But yes, the pragmatic approach, I am always in favor of pragmatic approach, and to try to to base always give an indication what makes more sense, what's more logic, what's the, yes, to follow like a the most sensible approach, and
yeah,
which
yeah,
normally
yeah.
makes sense. Yes,
Okay,
but
so
yeah.
what is the what would you say? What is the way how we can tackle and overcome these challenges? So the challenge is the inventorship. Are there other challenges too?
Yes, of course. And I think, well, the one we already discussed before, which is ownership, and being really clear about who with IP rights and the data, who belongs to whom. The other, which I think is a key important IP issue, is to how do I best protect these inventions? And for the first time, I see here really that a combination of different protection methods may be really the best strategies, because as we know, there are a lot of challenges that are connected to the patentabilities of this, for example, training method, algorithms, and so on. Um, you a company which is very much involved with that may want to use trade secrets, and that's actually what we see. We have been looking at some patent portfolio of this company I just mentioned, Accenture, Recursion Pharmaceuticals, or Crystal Pie, and we see that they have a combinations of protections. You don't will not find so many patents because I think they keep a lot of their discoveries and invention around the algorithms like trade secret. And the more complex their platform is, the more they keep it secret. And while they tend to patent method of trainings, as well as, of course, outputs of these methods. So keeping into account, of course, the challenges that there are with that. One, for this example, the inventorship, but also the inventive step in itself can be a challenge because it's something that AI told you inventive. I mean, this is a question that, so yeah, there are still a lot of things the, mm, which are challenging, but the important thing is actually to be ahead of them, to be aware of these challenges, and to make sure that you already have thought about that, so that you somehow have an answer, or you have a way forward, and you are aware
Yeah.
of what's happening, and then you find the best solution for fit for your own company, for your own needs, for what you're looking for. That's why it's so important, strategizing, thinking in advance, to what you
Yeah.
want to achieve
Yeah.
and how you want to do things.
I mean, that's a big issue. Just reacting is in most cases not really helpful. So
Yes.
we have 2 minutes left, and I would like to take the chance when I have you as an expert here. I would really like to what is your forecast? So what are the next big steps in AI IP in the chemical industry? What would you expect? What happens over the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, so I expect to see a lot of new decisions from the EPO on how to handle, for example, the in silico data. So nowadays, for example, we are required to provide uh, to provide real data, for to get a patent and on the functioning of a medicaments or some. I think this is will become less stringent, and I hope to see that. And in the Board of Appeal decisions at the EPO. So I think that the law is in continuous development, and it's key to follow these developments and to really remain fully informed. But as I said, I'm primarily very pragmatic. So I think never have to abandon the old ways until you are sure that the new ways are are working. So, and I am
Absolutely.
really a fan of the technology, of looking forward, and but I'm also very keen in obtaining valuable protection and enforceable protection. So that's why
Yeah.
it's important to remain quite pragmatic and traditional in uh,
Yeah. As soon as we know
circumstances.
we have a solution, we should use the solution, basically.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a great discussion and such big topics. So we were not
Yes.
able really to talk about all the different aspects. So I would like to invite you again and to proceed that, and also to observe a little bit, to monitor what's going on there, because I would really say that the pharmaceutical, the chemical industry, material science, so that is really one of the hot spots of these interplay between technology, AI, and IP. So thank you very much, Laura, for very clear statements and very helpful insights into that extremely complex field. Anita, Thank you very much for your comments. I was not able to put all of them to the show, but they are in the chat, and we will talk about that later on in the chat. Thank you very much, Laura.
Thank you, Alex.
Enjoy your afternoon in Italy. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Bye bye.